my pleasure now to introduce our speaker, Brendan Hellweg. He graduated from Williston in 2014 as valedictorian of his class, along with myriad other academic prizes accumulated along the way. Following Williston, he attended Yale University, where he was active in numerous clubs and organizations, like the Yale Political Union, and he penned numerous articles for the Yale Daily News. Following Yale, he earned dual degrees from Harvard's Business School and Kennedy School of Government. Before co-founding his own company, Brendan applied his considerable skills to working in Baltimore out of the mayor's office, increasing job opportunities in the public sector. He's accomplished an incredible amount for a young guy, but then again, adults at Williston always had the sense and feeling about him that when he was a high school student, he was about a decade beyond his years. I'm personally appreciative of his service to Williston as a member of the Heads Visiting Council, his commitment to giving back, and the example he sets for our under 30 alumni out there. Oh yeah, even though he was voted, quote, most likely to perish without tandem. Do you remember that? Yeah. That's the yearbook. Brendan graciously returned today. I thought he was coming from New York City. He literally flew from across the country at some crazy hour in the morning to share his remarks with us today. So let's give Brendan a warm Williston welcome home.
Well, I just turned 30, so I don't know about the under 30s, so I feel old, but hello, Wildcats. The last time I spoke at this podium, I was asking my classmates to please write an article for the Willistonian. I was the editor, and we needed a review on the latest Tandem Coffee menu items, and then also some investigative reporting on what really goes on in East Hampton City Hall. Today, I'm here to welcome you to a new year of possibilities at Williston. I hope you'll savor the moment, and I hope you'll savor this year. When Mr. Hill asked me to be the convention speaker, I started reflecting on my time at Williston, not just for the sake of advice, but to decide what truly made a lasting difference on my life. Rather than sharing generic tips, I wanted to tell you about one lesson from Williston that genuinely changed me. During my time here, in addition to the Willistonian, I ran cross country very slowly. I built sets in tech theater and ran lighting for the dance shows. I interned in my hometown mayor's office in Holyoke for a 22-year-old mayor, which to me was really inspiring. But coming from a family of actors and playwrights, what I really wanted was a big part in the winter play. I tried out for Muddle Chemsoil in Fiddler on the Roof, the tailor who defies the arranged marriage expectations to wed Tevye's daughter, Tzeitel, showing what love really means against all obstacles. Instead, I got caught as Mendel, the rabbi's son, who's a good match on paper, but who has the personality of a brick wall. I was disappointed. I had auditioned just well enough to have a name instead of Russian Guard number 3, but I wondered if I would waste months of rehearsals just to have a handful of lines. My theater teacher at Williston, Emily Didkovsky, gave the advice that helped me through the disappointment and that I've carried throughout my career. She told me that there are no small parts. It's up to you to choose what you'll make of your time on the stage. At first, I didn't believe her. I thought it was a consolation prize for a game I'd lost. But she was right, and I saw it play out again and again throughout my life. She was right. There are no small parts. It's up to you to choose what you'll make of your time on the stage. What does that mean? First, small parts are where you learn and become excellent. After I graduated college, I moved to Baltimore and joined the mayor's office. My first time in the city was my job interview, and I knew nothing coming into a big city that had struggled over the years with violence, addiction, and economic decline. My mayor would later be arrested by the FBI and IRS for a scandal involving children's books, but I'll save that for another speech. Long story short, pay your taxes. The story I told myself was that I would make a difference through the big moments. when I briefed the mayor on a vital policy change, or when I asked the perfect gotcha question in a hearing with a department head about something you could measure in the millions. It felt good to command attention in a suit at a podium, kind of like this one, and it felt good to tell myself I had a big part. But month after month, I realized I wasn't learning anything from these seemingly important meetings. We were going through the motions of bigness, and I had nothing to show for it. I had authority from my mayor's office pin, but I wasn't living with curiosity. So I changed course. I embraced the small parts. I spent every Wednesday night riding in an ambulance and getting dinner in firehouses so I could listen to emergency medical technicians about the support that they needed. I spent afternoons investigating late payments for nonprofits so that the city wouldn't push them out of business. And when the city was hit by a ransomware cyber attack, so I'm glad some of you are taking IT and cyber classes, that's great, I embraced the humble work of logging all 214 city services so we could track what had actually stopped working. In doing so, I actually learned the inner workings of government. And I found that I could contribute best when I took the time to listen and to learn. These small parts are where I learned to be a startup founder too. Founding a company is all about listening to the customer to learn what they really need with empathy, honesty, and a desire to serve. I listened to Baltimore City government workers about their challenges hiring and retaining their colleagues. I spoke to over 100 local government leaders to listen to their problems building the workforce they need to get the trash picked up and their potholes filled. I was their scribe, they were the heroes. I used my Willistonian skills to ask the right questions so they could feel comfortable and share what keeps them up at night. It turns out, when you talk to 100 people, carefully noting down the shared problems, there's a business in there. My time in Baltimore led me to my calling as a founder, and by embracing the small parts and asking the right questions, I learned what I needed to build. Second, small parts can make a huge difference. You can be the showstopper. I still laugh thinking of my friend Henry when I was at Williston as the porter in Macbeth, who had maybe 3 minutes as this intoxicated fool stumbling across the stage in a play. The play was mostly about curses and murder, but those 3 minutes were unforgettable. In Baltimore, I learned how to take the small part as a meeting facilitator among the lead players of department heads so they could come to the right decisions with my help. When COVID struck Baltimore, as in just about everywhere else, nobody was prepared for the scale of the challenge. The city leadership needed to make a plan, and the deputy mayor brought me in as a glorified note taker to facilitate the discussion. I learned that this facilitation enabled its own kind of leadership. Leadership is not authority. Leadership is convening and catalyzing towards a shared mission. So I sat and listened to Jason, Letitia, and Mayor Young pulling on the threads where they disagreed. I was the youngest person in the room by 2 decades, but I was the only one without a big part. They were all leads. That gave me the ability to take a step back and help them shine. The mayor gave me the assignment to facilitate a proposal between the health department and the economic development office for a Rockefeller Foundation grant. And these meetings became the Baltimore Health Corps, a program I helped grow to 300 people, 300 public health workers in just about a year who formed the core of the pandemic response for the city. We raised $12 million in funds from the Rockefeller Foundation through a grant I stayed up all night writing. The Baltimore Ravens contributed, which was cool to me. The federal government joined in and others. And through that facilitation, the program was a success. The White House in 2021 recognized the Baltimore Health Corps as a national model for embedding racial equity in large-scale employment development. But I wasn't hired to lead a 300-person program. By taking my small part seriously, I earned the trust to design and scale a program that became the cornerstone of my early career. That's what I learned at Williston. Do your small part, and do it well. You might be surprised at how big of an impact you can have. And third, small parts are fun too. They're an amazing opportunity to support your friends. And the reason for that, you're part of a bigger team. When you're not on stage, that's your time to cheer for your classmates and cheer for your friends. The offstage camaraderie is infectious. While you're in the spotlight this year and every year to follow, I hope you'll be locked in on being the showstopper, on turning your 3 minutes into the very best moment of yourself. And when your lines are finished, I hope you'll take the time to celebrate your friends and help them be the best versions of themselves. When you embrace the small part mentality, leading becomes all about helping other people shine. As a founder, leading and growing a team, it's my job to help every one of them be the best versions of themselves. I invest in coaching them, calling out their successes in public, and spotting places where they can grow so I can counsel them in private. It's my job to support them and not the other way around. So where does that take us? The small parts are where you learn. The small parts are where you grow. The small parts are where you lead. The small parts are where you serve. And so I hope you'll cherish the small parts this year as you cherish this year together. And what does this mean for your senior year? I have a challenge for you. I challenge you to try something you're not good at yet, but you want to explore. I challenge you to try something new and measure yourself only on whether it brings you joy. I challenge you to commit yourself wholeheartedly to your moments on stage and make your lines count instead of counting your lines. And I challenge you to support your friends in the moments they shine and in the moments they need your help to shine brighter. And in the interests of coming full circle, the Willistonian really needs a review of the latest tandem coffee menu items and some investigative reporting on what really goes on in East Hampton City Hall. I hope that someone who's never tried journalism takes a shot this year and writes one of those pieces. Savor this moment and savor this year. Welcome to Williston 2025. Thank you.